Hey everybody, come on in to the Library of Horror Hotel. All you mask fans and monster lovers, let's have another creepy cheapie where we look at an awesome mask from oh, miserable candle. Thing's totally wax. I'm just going to try a different one. I've had so much trouble here lately with that candle. I'm going to try this one that's a scented candle in a jar. Graveyard scent. Now that should make me feel right at home. So we're going to try the graveyard scented candle in a jar. And here's a helpful tip for this week. If you have scented candles in a jar that you're using, if you have a decorative lid that goes on there, don't put the lid on the jar while you're burning the scented candle in the jar. Okay? Don't do that. Put it off to the side, preferably behind a stack of old books. Where were we? Oh, yes, monsters. This week's ghastly, frightening thing comes from the weirdos at Ghoulish Productions. Where did he say? Ghoulish Productions. Makers of lots of great masks these days. And today, it's a vampire mask we're talking about. This guy, take a look at that. Specifically, the Macrotus vampire. Macrotus. And I'm going to spell that out for you because this is how you need to spell it if you're going to look it up online because you want to buy one at some point. Or if you want to read up on what it means. That's M-A-C, like the sandwich that's big. R-O-T, like what living tissue and flesh does. And U-S, like you and I. See, that's Macrotus, you see. Now you might be thinking, what does that mean? Is that just his name, like Dracula? Is the name because it starts with Mac? He must be Scottish. You're thinking, no, it's not. It's not. He's not a Scotsman. It's not like Old Man Macrotus, the lone bagpiper at the funerals for Dracula. No, it's not like that. Yes, I did say funerals for Dracula. Dracula's had multiple funerals. Think of how many times he's been staked over the years. They need a piper who can show up every time, you know. Anyway, where were we? The Macrotus, the actual word means a type of bat. It refers to a specific genus of bat, also called the leaf-nosed bat, because sometimes when he goes out of the house, he'll forget and leave his nose at home. Just like, I think, Nanette Fabre used to do the same thing, I think. But no, that's not true. It's a term that refers to the leaf-nosed bat because his nose is shaped a little bit reminiscent of a leaf. And the bats in this particular family, his family, not my family, tend to look a bit leafy-like. And if you want to learn more about what makes a leaf-nosed bat and where they live and where they come from, for Pete's sake, look it up. And no, you can't bite Pete. Anyway, this came out back in the year 2024, if you can remember back that far. Wow. And did not quite get the recognition I feel it deserved. It seems like nobody really noticed it. I don't know if they didn't make maybe as many of these as they do some masks and it wasn't as common, but you don't see it around that much, and it's a really cool thing. Look how much neck you get here. It comes way down in the front. It has a full back of the head, I think you can see there with the slit up the back, to make it easier to put on and take off, or take on and put off, and a very off-putting expression. Look how nasty this guy is with the bloody mouth, and he has, I don't know if you can see this, you'd be looking out of little cuts above the eyes, which is kind of a mask tradition, as introduced by distortions mostly. They were the ones that kind of popularized that process. But the little cuts above the eyes, and then the eyes are really glossy, blood red with these creepy sort of pale yellowy centers, which is nice and scary. Now he's kind of almost albino looking, but not quite. He might look whiter on your monitor of choice than he looks in person. He's not really white. There's some gray and some pink and purple going on here. Now I haven't done anything to this guy. He's about 60, 65 bucks, and he looks this great right out of the package with all this nasty detailing. And I don't know if it's going to show up, but he has a great skin texture. This isn't just smooth like a big egg. It has a really cool skin texture. Now, if I was going to wear this, let's say a judge sentenced me to community service and said, you know, you have to work at the haunted house this fall every night, and you have to wear this particular mask, but we don't have a costume, so you have to come up with your own, and then you have to wear it every night at the haunted house. It could happen. And I had to come up with a costume for him. There's one of two ways you could go. I think my favorite would be like a fur suit, kind of like a gorilla suit, but not as bulky and thick as that, not as big as that, and probably not black, because black, while he could have black hair naturally, black fur kind of suggests gorilla suits to people, and you might end up having something that looks like a gorilla with a bat's head, and you don't want that. So I would want a light brown or gray, tan would be great, light brown or tannish color fur suit. And if you know a human who could sew, maybe have them take it up a little bit so it's a little tighter fit on you and isn't like a big giant bulky thing like a gorilla suit typically fits, or like this coat is on me. I don't know if you know, it's cold in the library today, and I'm wearing 39 layers of clothing, including the largest coat in the Great Lakes area. And it's a good thing I'm not a shoplifter, because if I wore this coat into the store, I could be like stealing watermelons, loaves of bread, canned hams, clock radios, you know, whatever, and just stick them into the coat. I could fit two people in here. I could have another person in the coat. Where were we? This coat doesn't owe me anything, I'll tell you that. I've certainly gotten my money's worth out of it. But anyway, you'll get your money's worth out of a Ghoulish Productions 2024 Macrotus vampire. I think very cool vampire. And the other thing that you might want to do if you don't want to go with the hairy beast kind of effect, which you know, would consist of what I just said, the fur suit with maybe some kind of wings stuck on the back and some rubber monster hands with claws. I'm sure you can find. The other thing you might want to do is use him as more of a human character. So it's, instead of something that's more bat-like, you have something that's more, a little bit like Stephen King's The Night Flyer, something like that. Put him in a dark robe, maybe even a hooded robe, a black, tattered, old-fashioned looking, shroudy kind of robe, and yeah, shroudy doody to you. And you could maybe put some accoutrements on there, like some chains and medallions, and I don't know, think of some ways to decorate it. A project for you to go with your very scary costume. And if you need more eyesight, these could actually be cut. You could actually cut the eye slits bigger than the way it comes and get away with it, because it gets lost in the shadow really well up there. So that's the old bat I wanted to bring to your attention for today, the Macrotus vampire from 2024. And see what that candle smells like. Doesn't really smell like a graveyard. Well, I'll work on it before our next episode and see if I can't find a better candle.